Ladies and gentlemen, it's So What Morning back in the building. And you know we got to do this every week from here on out, the community empowerment segment. Very, 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 very important segment where we promote local businesses, anybody who's trying to do something with their lives, communities. We're trying to recycle black dollars. Now, a lot of people have reached out to me in recent weeks and asked me about the logo of the So What Morning Show. Incredible team out of the South, out of Atlanta, and I even think North Carolina. I think the president is in Atlanta. The name of the company who did all my logos for my shirts and all of the imaging that you see, graphic imaging that you see for the So What Morning Show, they're called I Stand Media Group. And the president and founder of this organization, his name is Lex Kelly. I want you guys to call him, 404-913-5549. The graphic portion of their company is called Visions to Life. And when I tell you, man, you just give them some bootleg drawing of something and they could turn it into something incredible. They can turn it into a brand. They can turn it into something meaningful. So I ask you to go out. I urge you to go out and support I Stand Media Group, as well as Visions to Life graphic company. Now, you can find them on YouTube or Facebook. YouTube is I Stand Media Group. Facebook is also I Stand Media Group. You'll find Lex Kelly. And man, when I tell you he has a graphic artist, brother, fitness guru. His name is Will Cherry. When I tell you, they will bring your graphics to life. It's crazy. I Stand Media Group. I ask you to go support that. IStandMediaGroup.com. You can find them on Facebook. Facebook.com/I Stand Media Group. This is how you get in contact with them. Greatest graphic team on planet Earth. You should support them. Like I said, I will be doing this community empowerment movement from here on out. We got to support black businesses. And with that said, I have an in-studio guest. Long time. This dude has been doing it for a long time. He's an R&B artist. He's a writer, singer, producer. And a friend of mine is his manager. And the homie has been telling me for years, man, we gotta help build this young brother up because he's moving up, and his talent is gone overlooked for long enough. With that said, I want to introduce his manager. The brother's name is Geo. I call him Geo. His name is George Blaine III, but we call him Geo. Geo, introduce your artist, man, and let the people know how they can connect with him. Let's go.
Hey, what's going on, everybody? So Morning Show fans and public. I got my boy here, Paris Smith. He's one of the most talented R&B pop songwriters in the country, just period. And we have an event coming up this Thursday, December 5th at Cabo Wabo on Hollywood and Highland on the 4th floor. It's called Blaze the Mic. And this man is going to be spotlighted there with a lot of other up-and-coming and established artists. A lot of guest surprises. But without further ado, I want to introduce my boy, Paris Smith.
What up, Paris?
What's up, man?
Welcome to the So What Morning Show, man.
Thank you for having me.
Talk to me about this music, man. Who'd you steal your style from?
I wouldn't say it was stolen. I think it was just dropped on me by my mother and my father. I grew up in a real strong church background family. My father and my mother met singing in the church choir, so it just was a torch was passed to me from both families, you know.
Well, let me say it another way. What are some of your influences, musical influences?
Them, of course. My oldest brother, Mark, was lead singer of Blackstreet. He replaced David Hollister.
Okay, well then there you go.
And
there you go.
Musically growing up was church and also like Al Green, all the good stuff that we love, you know.
Is this some drop your booty, clap it up for me type?
It's a couple records on there that you can really make a baby to, you know. But you know, it's really good. It's just really good feeling music that you can play for your kids. You know, your uncles, your aunts, your grandparents, there's nothing dirty on there. I might really take it there on the next album, for real. But this is good music. This was my introduction to the world.
Where can they buy this?
iTunes. You can go to iTunes, in the search field, type in Paris, take it there, and There it is.
Can they sample it? Can they look at it? Can they hear a little bit before they spend their hard-earned pesos?
They can hear whatever they want to hear. What do you mean, live?
No, I'm talking about
on iTunes.
Yeah,
they can click. They can click and listen to each song individually, however they want to do it.
Absolutely, man. So Thursday, let me just say, man, I hope the show is packed out. And if you're in LA, Los Angeles area, please go out to Cabo Wabo Cantina in Hollywood, blaze the mic, and check out the brother Paris. I really appreciate you coming by, man.
I appreciate you for having me.
Hey, we're going to keep promoting, so why not? You know what? Maybe at some point through the show, we could play one of his records. Can we do that? It's a done deal. We're going to be playing some of his music throughout the show. And go support him. That's what we do here on the So What Morning Show, supporting black business. That's what we're trying to do, build it, grow it. And that's this segment. We're out, but I'll be back in 2.2 with the start of the show, guests, and the topic. We'll be back in a second. So What Morning Show. Holla!
Ladies and gentlemen. Ladies and gentlemen. For real, they know what it is.
to all these different various music schools. We're not going to give no, but you know who you are, and all these professors that laying up and doing whatever you're doing, illegitimate or something. And you kids that really should be down here listening and checking this music out that's so hung up on that and stuff. We want you to figure out what is happening on this tune. And when you come down here, I hope that you'll be able to tell us what's happening on this tune, because the people that are here, they have advantage of it because they'll see what's happening and they'll know that it's no joke or it's no overdub. But you just have to be in suspense, because I know you got everything figured out up here, but you don't have as much figured out as we got figured out, because we got it together. Now we're going to whip this tune on you. And we hope that you will have enough courage to come down here after this set and tell us just what was going on this beautiful tune that is getting ready to be played.
time you in a slum, going Roddy Pipe wearing DDT and you Terry Fucks. Money goes around, but I'ma keep it counting, move with wisdom. I know I kinda cliche it, now y'all ain't fucking with them. But I don't see no existence in your appearance, man. But now we drink from them bottles instead of plastic cans. Well, that's the way it is, make an extra $100. Started thinking about my future, make them count that money solid. I pitch apologies, I just see what's in front of me. I think we would have been known, honestly, if it's 93. But that's just a couple topics I talk about. If I don't really feel it, then I'm out, man.
The hottest, one of the hottest producers out of this dude here. You got to play. What can I do? Just remember that. What can I do?
Why don't you have a CD?
We should just remember that?
Just remember that. Oh, I got a CD coming out. It's called Geoff Brown's Ignorant Ass Songs. Ignorant is spelled I-G-N-U-N-T. Geoff Brown's Ignorant Ass Songs. Ignorant. Just ignorant. Dope beats, ignorant lyrics. Okay?
Well, with that said, welcome to the So What Morning Show. That commercial.
What can I do?
Just remember that.
Just remember that, and then I'm going to have him go to SoundCloud.
For the rest of your life.
Oh, my Lord. You wait till you put this beat on. It's ridiculous. We're going to jump.
What do you want me to remember again?
Jump up and down. What can I do? Just remember that.
Hey, but white man can't jump.
Yeah, we can watch. Watch. You're going to be nodding your head so hard, you're going to break your glasses on the mic. Watch. It's right there. You'll feel it.
Yeah, swing and a miss. Here we go. Ladies and gentlemen, let's start the show again. You don't want to put you just wayward today.
I'm in the zone. I'm in a different place right now.
Listen, ladies and gentlemen, So What Morning Show back in the building. Again, we felt it necessary because of the overwhelming success of the last show. Success in terms of numbers, success in terms of comments, people talking, generating all of this buzz and interest about a topic that, everybody, it doesn't work anymore, Geoff. Put the camera on Geoff. We want to watch Geoff go through this.
That's what I told you. I told this man that's all we needed last time. Yours not working either?
Caesar said no.
Oh, there we are. Bam.
Are you good now?
My dude, yeah.
Okay, all right.
Work with these earbuds that hurt. Anybody else earbuds hurt? I got little ears.
Do you?
Yeah.
Cute though. I got these big ones that get big. You look like an elephant when you get older.
Yeah.
Do me a favor. Never call my ears cute.
Yeah,
again.
another uncomfortable moment on the So What show.
They're ignorant. They're
ignorant. I would rather hear that than That's the kind of shit you don't want to hear that in jail.
Well, that's my ignorant. That's my ignorant white comment. I'll get that out of the way.
I'm gonna grab you by both of your ears and you don't want to hear that.
Oh God.
I'm sorry. Go ahead with your program.
Yeah. Do you mind?
Yes, I'm sorry.
Okay. Thank you. So What Morning Show, we're back in the building. We're going to do a part 2 to last week's show. We felt like it was important that we had to cover this. To the sisters, our fans that are females, you must understand. And Doc, maybe you can weigh in on this as I set this topic up. Men don't get a chance to really just vent and tell you how we really feel about which way the wind is blowing. A lot of times we don't have the time to sit around and commiserate about what's wrong in our lives or about what we don't agree with. And I felt that I think men need an opportunity to just lay it out on the line sometimes amongst themselves. I think men and women, especially in the African American community, if we continue to follow the thought that, if America is sick, the African American community is on its deathbed, damn near on a respirator. So if we're following that thought process, just think how much the black man has to hold in and just deal with. And I think some of the expectations and the stereotypes about manhood themselves need to be rewritten. One of those beliefs is, black men or men in general are the male men of life, meaning regardless of the situation, circumstances surrounding you, you have to deliver. Period. I don't give a damn what it is.
Rain, sleet, snow, pit
polar
bulls
bears
running out on you.
Right. Whatever the situation is, men are just supposed to suck it up, pick it up, put it on our back and keep it moving. And I think that's an unrealistic expectation of men. Just because we're stronger physically doesn't always mean we're stronger mentally or emotionally. And I think the way men are socialized is kind of damaging because most men don't get to emote their problems away. Do you understand? Like how many men have had a moment to just sit down and feel it? Just feel it, whatever it is, good, bad, or indifferent. Just feel it without judgment. I mean, it's a tough life to be a man. So I think it's time for us to do the part 2 to this show, and I wanted to make it solutions-based. But before I get to introducing everybody and all the people that are in the building, of course, I have a book that I need you guys to go out and Is this your book?
No, this
Look at Geoff's book. Can we put
Mickey Mouse stuff?
This is Mickey Mouse with I drew a joint in his mouth. That I'm sure
that's what Geoff reads.
Disney don't have nothing to do with that.
No,
this is what my notes for the show.
Got you. So with that said, I want to highlight a particular book called The Master Key System or Master Key System by Charles F. Hanel. Very, very heavy book. Please go out and support this particular work.
What's that name again?
The Master Key System. I mean, y'all should know when I tell you to go get a book, it's a life changer.
Dynamite.
It's dynamite between the pages. Please go out and support that particular book. The Master Key System by Charles F. Hanel. Amazon, wherever you got to go to get it. It's one of those books that needs to be purchased today. This is not something you should wait until Friday to do. Okay?
Charles F. and Hell.
Hanel. H-A-A. It's 2 A's. N-E-L. All right? Please go support that work. And also go get Dr. Mark Goulston's Just Listen.
Great book.
The second book. Tell me how that's doing, Doc.
Second book's called Real Influence. That's how do you persuade people without being pushy?
Right.
Because as soon as you start being pushy, they push back. And, it's interesting. I was talking to someone. Let me ask all you guys if you agree, or is this just Whitey Locks going off of the rails again?
Probably.
More than likely.
Do you think, what do you think?
I'm going to go with B.
What do you think helps resolve a conflict, like, anywhere in life? Do you think listening more or talking more? What do you think helps resolve a conflict?
Depends on who the conflict is with.
That's good. Say more. Like
I like that.
Listening, I get into this with my kids, okay? Y'all get y'all thinking and you're doing mixed up, okay? When I tell you to do something, all the thinking has been done. All the thinking. When I say
I've done all the thinking for you.
I've done all the thinking for you, okay? Now, there are other times when you should be doing. You need to do when I say, and then other times you need to think. When I leave you to your own devices, I'm going to need you to think. When I tell you, when I give you a directive, I'm going to need you to do. Okay? So it depends upon...
I got to tell you, that is brilliant.
That is.
I tell you, it's just some of Jeff Brown's ignorance. Now, with my wife, that don't work. Okay? We are.
You can't tell her to just do without thinking.
Not unless it's crisis. Okay? If Godzilla is out there stepping on trucks, goddamn it, go this way. I ain't got time to discuss with you. Why? Under crisis, yes, you do what I say. Under normal circumstances, I need your counsel. I need your advice. Your word is first. My wife's word is first. My word is final. That just works for me.
I want
to wait. Tell me if this is just a white person's problem. I think I've been talking to a lot of men who say I get along with everyone except my wife, and they.
No, that's not.
And what they say is, I love my wife, but our conversations, they escalate like that. She's defensive, I'm attacking, I'm defensive, and so. What I've observed, and tell me if you think there's any relevance to this in the black community, is that a lot of women, when they get frustrated with their kids, and I guess it's more of a white problem because I think there's a more primal, deep link between black women and their children. But
so what you saying?
What I'm saying? What I'm saying is that white.
I almost didn't like it.
But
then I listened to it. I was like, okay,
I dodged the bullet.
It's right on the edge.
That was you were on the rugged edge.
Well, I'll be. Just call me JFK today, so I won't dodge too many bullets. But
Wow.
But anyway, but women, what happens is when they get angry at their kids, if they had an abusive mom, and they find themselves getting mean to their kids. There's a point at which they say, "My God, I'm not being loving. I'm hating them." And so what happens is women will check back, and then when the man comes in, they're just looking for something to pounce on him for, because they want to deflect their anger, because they don't want to feel that level of anger towards their kids because it crosses over into thinking they're abusive. So, the dad comes home and they'll just find something to pick on and they'll lay into him, but what they want to do is displace it because they don't want to get angry at their kids. So I don't know if that's just a white issue, but that's very common.
It sounds like what you're talking about is something that I've experienced, which is people who are at war with something in their own souls.
Ooh.
Okay,
You're brilliant.
They're war.
You're on top
fire.
today.
You're on fire today, man.
Just today, though.
Well, yeah. This is
Go ahead, Geoff.
this is a post marijuana moment.
Got it.
I had some green crack last night is what it's called, and it's a fantastic body high. It's fantastic.
So your brilliance are going to go away in about 12 hours?
No. I went to that place. I got some brilliance, and now I'm back. Okay. What you find is, especially with a woman, the argument is never about what it's about. Okay. Me and my ex-wife was tastes great, less feeling, fuck you. It really didn't matter. It really, it's not that. You have to find out what the true issue is, and it may not even with my ex-wife. Well, ex-wife number 2. I've done this a few times. The generational thing was the issue. It wasn't even about us. It was about the ghost of her grandfather and the evil shit he did. This is what, and she was living under a branch of that tree and would not come out from under it and was causing holy hell in every direction.
But see, this is why I always say, like, I think our approach, I mean, if I want to set up the show properly, this is a solutions-based show, and the reason why I came up with the concept of Hemonism, because I seen all of these guys on the YouTube, on the internet. Everybody's mad.
Brilliance, by the way.
It's a war, and the reason I thought it was funny when I first came up with the term Hemonism. Oh God, it's a men's movement, and it's a war, and it's a banner, and it's something to stand for, right?
It's a cause.
It's a cause. It's a crusade, and it struck me because I was reading this book by J. Krishnamurti, and one of the things he said, it is conceptual thinking that is the ruin of humanity.
Wow.
So what happens is, when I try to do these shows, what we wind up doing is having a black and white, them against us kind of movement. Now, if you expand beyond just black love, black men versus black women, and you go out into a broader perspective, it's black people versus this oppressive white system. Then you go even further, it's the rest of the world against the big, bad, greedy motherfuckers from America. So it's always this black and white, us against them kind of mentality. So the purpose of this show today is to say, okay, how do we fix listen to this now, the only school you never graduate from, which is relationships. How do we fix our relationships? Because I think if we fix our relationships, then that will reflect outward, broader to the rest of the world. Like if we got it right with us, then we can have it right with the world or with our country, where we're from, all of that. You understand what I'm saying? We can begin to correct the process. So how do... And I'm posing this question to the entire... the phone lines is crazy. 323-965-1600. I'll be coming to you soon. How do we correct the wrongs that have been done in our relationships? I have one more question, and then I'm coming to the entire panel. Geoff just said something that I thought was fucking amazing.
Really?
He said, man, I wasn't dealing with my woman. I was dealing with the ghost of her grandfather. And I mentioned this on a show before. I said, it appears to me that technology, we already know technology doubles and triples every 18 months.
It squares itself every 10 years.
But every 18 months is what they're saying now. That's how rapid it's moving. We've got the technology of gods, but the social programming and the social thought process of cave people. The question is, if you dealing with the ghost of her grandfather, does that mean hurt and pain heals on a geological level? It took millions of years for the fucking Grand Canyon to be withered down by the rocks. Is that how we heal? Is that the process of forgiveness? Is it going to take as long as it takes to create a fucking gorge in the earth? We've got to find a better way to get to a quantum state of forgiveness so we can drop off a lot of baggage, so we can get back to just being humans. We can't even be human because of the hurt, because of the way we process hurt. So with that said,
can we do a solution?
That's what I want. That's the purpose of the show.
So here's a tip, because you're right. A lot of times we live old stories that no longer work. They actually hurt us. So here's a takeaway tip. If you're dealing with someone like that, when they're calmer, when they calm down, say, if you ask them this question, what is the number one thing that you think the world doesn't understand about you?
The number one thing
that so you say to the other person, what do you think is the number one thing that the world doesn't understand about you? We kind of got into this last week a little bit, but what they'll come up with their old story, and then you could say, how did you learn that? And how's that working for you?
Okay, I'm sorry. You are addressing whom when you?
No, you're addressing if there is someone that you think is stuck in the past.
Oh, okay.
And they're bringing in these ghosts. So how do you alleviate the ghosts? You don't want to lecture them. You want them to talk more. You want to pull it out of them. So if you could say, what do you think? And what you're trying to do is get them to reveal their ghosts. So so what, and the ghost might be the way they look at the world. The world is out to get me. The world is, so I have to fight the world all the time. But so if you ask them, what is the number one thing that you think the world doesn't get about you? And where did you learn that from? And how's that working for you now? You might get them to be able to see, well, this is, I think the world thinks I'm a loser, and well, where'd you learn that from? Blah 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 blah. And my grandfather, whatever.
Okay. I see what you're saying.
So how's that working for you when you interact with people? I mean, do you get on the defensive a lot? Blah blah. Well, I guess so all the time. Well, how's that working for you? People want to be around you more? No,
you know what I find? I find when you ask those type of questions, you start losing friends. You start losing acquaintances, because most people understand that the most powerful narcotic on planet Earth is ignorance. I'd rather not fuck around and ask those kind of questions because it makes me feel. It makes me introspective.
Okay.
No, but this is selective. It's not for everyone, but someone who can't get out of their own way. I mean, you select people that are just hurt. They're just shooting themselves in the foot with almost everything they do and say.
Okay, I'm arrogant. Can I come out and say it? I'm arrogant. Okay.
We know that. It's fine.
I choose to spend my time with those who I find that either I can feed or they can feed me. And my new phrase is life minutes. I can't waste my life minutes.
Write that down. See, if it's not taken, write the book on it.
Life minutes? Okay.
Yeah, you might want to get that.
I can't waste my life minutes.
Someone else just stole it.
Geoff Brown.
You don't want to write it?
I can't waste my life minutes fucking with you. I don't know how many books I'm going to sell with fucking with you on the front. But I don't. If you cannot... I don't. This dude here, I got calls that, which you need to shut the fuck up, Bobby Glanton. We can't get a word in edgewise because of you and your cha. Now, but that's my Uncle Bobby right there. That's a wise cat. This is a wise cat. I don't spend any time with knuckle draggers. I don't have the life minutes. Okay, I'm a grown ass man with kids, and some of my kids is old enough to have kids. I don't have time. This shit is happening now. This is Vietnam. Bombs is dropping now. I do not have time to teach you how to shoot. Here.
Bobby?
From a solutions-based perspective, I think it's important that we narrow the focus down to the individual. When I was working on Real Men Don't Play, it was born out of a necessity to address the notion that men had become minimized much to their own undoing, simply because they referred to themselves as players, and we took ourselves so lightly that when people bought into that, we got upset when they threw it back in our face, that we had become so recreational in our approach to dealing with everyday life. As it relates to interaction, I think before I'm personally successful in a relationship, I've got to go through a personal checklist. And then when I come to a certain conclusions, I got to be okay with that.
Right.
Just because I'm physically attracted to a woman don't mean that I'm socially compatible with her.
Go deeper.
And as a result of that, I can't play with that.
But go deeper into the social compatibility. Go
the
say
social
more.
compatibility is this. If I got to ask you if you get me, then you don't get me. So that's a race of futility. I've got to accept the fact that we can be casually whatever, but this is really not going anywhere, which means we need to define those parameters very early on. And I remember in one of my progressions in life, I got comfortable with the notion that I didn't never want to again confuse my sexual desires with my social desire, because then I started compromising my own personal agenda, and it blew back in my face. And to be just perfectly blunt about that, if I was physically attracted to a woman, I need to let her know before we do anything else, I want to have sex with you. And let the chips fall where they may.
That is some pimp shit right there.
No, that's where we get in trouble right there. That is not pimping. That is coming to self-awareness and realization.
That's the marginalization you said we started to play into by calling ourselves the pimps and the macs in the beginning.
And then you had to deal with that. You had to deal with that even though you may not be promoting that.
Right.
All right, and I got tired of defending other people's behavior when I'm not trying to represent that.
So when you say we claim those particular titles, women who did not value those titles, that actually gave them the get out of jail free card to minimize us even more because we claim something that they didn't value, right?
That's well put. And I kind of want to put this in a capsule and move the conversation around through the phones and everybody else by saying, from a solution-based perspective, first look at self, and then get your checklist together and be true to that.
Well, let me ask this to everybody here on the panel then, because that's great. Get yourself together. We mentioned in the last show about black men being marginalized by the system, not having any power, and in not having any real power through the system. Some people would argue that by saying Barack Obama is the president, but that's a whole nother discussion.
Those are idiots. Those people are morons.
But my thing is, if we could get power, like, what is the thing we can do to get our sisters to respect us again? See, when we go to Africa,
nothing.
Let me just say, we go to Africa, you go on safari, and you're driving through, a lion pride. You really don't feel that safe on the truck.
I know.
Because they're right there, and right off the bow.
I done been them one of them, and that truck ain't got no doors.
There's a fear even for the tourist that's sitting on the truck. Like, if he wanted to, he could just jump right through this thing
and pick one of us.
And the reason why I give that example is, and Corey says it in a more, if your bitch ain't scared of you, he does it that way.
You got to have these lousy bitches in the mental state where they won't fuck with you. 'Cause if you don't,
and I'm not saying we should have them fearful of us, but let's remember respect from reverence, the Latin reverie. This is where we get our word reverend. The root of it is fear. Respect is fear. It's a type of, hey, I see your line clearly.
I'm not going to cross it.
So my question is, how do we regain, and I'm not saying the fear of women, I'm saying, how do we regain the reverence of women?
First of all, you eliminate fear, because fear is unsustainable.
Yes, yeah. Go.
It's unsustainable.
There we go.
If you're afraid,
I told you that's why I hang on.
I see people that have become extremely successful because they were driven by fear. They didn't want to be poor. They didn't want to be rejected anymore.
Right.
And they climbed that mountain. I mean, they went through walls to get to a certain state, and then they ended up being unhappy because they no longer had that fear to drive them to stay on top. So if you get a woman in your life or reverse the role, and you have a relationship that is dominated by fear, then you own that job 24/7. You can't take any time off. So there's a difference between fear and respect. If a person respects you, they appreciate you. If they fear you, they fear you. And the moment they stop fearing you, the dynamics change.
Can I jump in?
Yes, of course.
I like what everybody's saying, but I, in addition to it, I think a lot of relationships are ruled by confusion.
Go deeper. You got to go deeper on that.
And I'm thinking of someone who had she was 48, never been married, and
Red flag.
and and she was seeing a therapist, not me, and the therapist said, well, a lot of people are unhappily married, it's not such a big deal. And something that she did, I thought was brilliant, and I think men can do this. What she and it's building on what Geoff said. She made a list of the qualities of a person she would want to spend her life with, and all that. This is like passion, dedication takes doesn't take himself too seriously, but takes the world seriously. I mean, it's not rocket science. So she made a list so that she could recognize it when she ran into it. But the brilliant thing she did is she said, what would be his list of who he'd want to spend his life with? And she identified about 10 things that would make her the lemon.
That dude would be looking for, right?
Yeah, and so and what happened is she was never that motivated to change some of these things. Like she had a terrible laugh, and she could be, gossipy. And so what happened is one by one,
you gonna change your laugh?
But one by one, she started eliminating those things because she never had the motivation, because she never had the clarity. But what happened is that she finally started eliminating those things that she knew in the back of her mind were kind of relationship killers. She became more attractive. So I'm wondering if men can do that. To build on what Geoff said, think of that person that you would want to spend your life with. A lot of it has to do with respect, appreciation, things like that. But then think, what would they be looking for? And what do I need to change, as opposed to, they got to accept me the way I am, but I don't have to accept them the way they am.
Excellent.
So I think that.
Okay. Yeah.
No,
We're
change
rubbing
that.
off.
You all no. Almost. You didn't change that to is the way they is.
So listen, we're about to take a quick break. When I come back, more questions, more guests, more information. This is the Black Love Feminism versus Hemonism Solution Show. When I come back, more information. So what mornings? We'll be back in 2.2. Holla! and gentlemen, the So What Morning Show back in the building. Part 2 from last week's Barn Burner. Hemonism versus feminism. Black love. Solutions show. We need solutions. Right? A lot of sisters be pissed off because of that show last week. I've been getting phone calls like, yo.
Better pissed off than pissed on.
Here's the thing.
What?
Men have to be able to vent at some point, or we gonna go crazy.
Yeah.
But that's another thing. That's another side.
That's shooting up malls and yeah.
We got to. But let me introduce our guests. We have some more guests in the building right now. Who's gonna add to this conversation? Of course, none other than Dr. Holcomb.
Oh yeah.
Just got his degree off of the internet.
Yeah. Author of 12 Years a Side Bitch.
Yeah, I had this.
That's his book, author 12 Years a Side Bitch.
You can get degrees off the internet. I had this little Asian dude take the test for me. It's in my name. It's in my name.
Corey Holcomb back in the building to build on
Dr. Goose thing like that one.
To build on the solution show. That's the whole purpose of this show.
You better give me his name.
I've been getting a lot of feedback from women who said you're bipolar and angry and bitter. We'll deal with that.
But was he wrong? That's the issue. That's like with Minister Farrakhan.
Yeah.
Can I introduce the lone female voice?
Yes. And
who women will say we stack the deck against because she's the only female in the building.
Yeah, but she can handle herself. That girl right there.
Yeah, she bad. Now
I ain't never scared.
She ain't just sexy with dreads.
Now I have invited a lot of people, a lot of women. Now if they can make it, they can, and if they can't, they can't.
I'm sorry, getting my toes did.
Without further ado, let me introduce therapist, Def Jam poet, author, and all-around scrumptious, delightful young lady.
Oh my God, just who?
Thea Monnier.
Thanks so.
And all the women love her. They love when you're on the show because she's smart.
She's smart, and her clothes is just a candy wrapper.
And then, here's the thing.
Damn it.
We always say stuff like women circle the wagons.
Around the horribles.
But it's not necessarily true because I thought, let me just say this. Let me give you an example. When I say it's not always true, let me do it another way. We have Brandy on the show last week.
Remember Casino?
Brandy was supposed to be on this show today with Thea, right?
Okay.
Here's the problem. All the sisters was banging on Brandy as if she couldn't hold her own. And next time, get a real woman to represent us.
Oh, wow.
And woo. And I thought Brandy did an admirable job. What's wrong, Corey?
I had to laugh.
Oh, why you?
Really?
I thought she did a good job.
She looked bad. Like, really, she looked bad as she was getting upset.
Yeah.
No one said her name. We just were addressing bitches, and she answered to it.
Right. We were addressing, See, look
no,
at Thea.
I'm just saying,
Thea doesn't like that. We were addressing women.
I don't know if Thea doesn't like that.
Look her, Brandy, she cringed. Look at her.
You being kind. Brandy got her cape toe off last week. Okay, really.
She felt like we were attacking her as we used the word bitch.
But our fan base felt like we were attacking her.
Well, that's okay.
Do we have a bunch of bitches as fans?
No, just you got some. You got 3.
You say your fan base thought we were attacking?
Wherever 2 or 3 are gathered.
Well,
one of them's a bitch.
You know what our women guests. What our women guests have to realize. What you have to realize is, we don't mean no ill. We bait you because we are master baiters.
Wow.
Not me. I mean, like, I speak the truth, and a lot of times when you're trying to revolutionize people, there's going to be backlash. Some people like the system as it is. You know what I mean? Right. So it's like, I'm not mad at them because they think I'm a bad guy. That's why I got on my little sucker nigga glasses this week. I'm trying to look and talk like a lame so they can relate to me. You know what I mean? When you look like a lame and I even practice some big words. You know what I mean? Just so they won't feel as though I'm the bad guy as they have been taught.
I appreciate that effort.
Here's something, and you do it well.
Okay.
But I don't think enough women take this into consideration.
Okay.
Intelligent, spiritual, deep queens like you. That's not what the show's about today.
But you know what?
The show is not about wonderful guys who get with wonderful women and live happily ever after. The show is about fucked up individuals who get together, procreate, and make little fucked up individuals. Dudes don't have. I don't count nobody on this panel as horrible cats from the outside. I'm a horrible from the cat. Well, not from your subterfuge. From what I can see, these are some good cats.
I think out of all of the guys up here, Zoe is the most deceptive.
Oh, that's hilarious. There are some.
Because he will smile with a bitch and tell her what she want to hear.
And her drawers will be down by the side of the bed.
You're a good girl, but then, around us, he going to be like, oh, fuck that bitch, man. I think he's the most deceptive up here.
Here's my point. We don't have a problem saying horrible dudes exist.
Right.
The issue is, with most women, is that y'all think that, or you seem to act as if all of you are beyond reproach. And there's some horrible shit coming from over there. And as a woman, we gonna ask you some questions about some horrible bitches. When I say horrible bitches, they exist, and I don't mean you.
Right.
But see,
I got that.
I think the whole point of the show is we know that there are horrible women and horrible men.
Right.
Right? I use the show as therapy for my own horribleness, right? Personally.
And deception.
And
Thank you, Corey.
And all of that.
And deception.
Right? I use the show to learn and grow from shit I've been through. So the point I'm trying to make here today is, I think through feminism, because men will say, women use feminism to marginalize men, and then they use the court system to get revenge after all of the shit we've done. The bottom line is, and then we turn around and create a Hemonism movement. But nobody is saying, okay, I fucked up, you fucked up, how do we build a bridge? And that's why we have to do a show that's based on fucking solutions. How do we get better?
Can I give you an example of what happened?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, yesterday, and I really would like to hear the sister feedback on this.
Yes.
It's this young lady I was talking to. She's 37 years old, and she always...
She's not young.
Makes sure that she puts this out there. I don't just go around having sex with random guys, and if I'm with somebody, I'm faithful. So I asked her, do you think that you have been with over 10 guys, sexually? She was like, well, yeah. I was like, well, you need some vaginal coaching. I was like, you have put yourself out there time after time, and she said she also told me she's basically at homeless status right now. She has to go live with one of her girlfriends. Something's wrong with her, don't you think so?
Vaginal coaching, go deeper.
Vaginal coaching, go deeper. I think that going back to the premise of the show, I think that your point, your purpose, Zoe, is always to deal with what is preventing an individual from being their best self.
Right.
And so with that young lady, clearly she's not being her best self, not based on the number of people she slept with, because that's something that I think socially changes whether you're talking about men or women. Because if a guy has slept with 10 women, that's not going to have the same impact that a woman having 10 male partners would.
Right.
And part of that is,
again, the curve.
Part of that is because women have to accept that man. Women have to open and accept that man in a different way than men sort of have an input mechanism that works. And so I think for women, I see the point sometimes you guys are making, because I do hold women, you know me, I hold women extremely accountable. Absolutely. A lot of my work with women is like, okay, what could you have done differently? What did you need to do? You hold the power. You're convincing yourself you're not a creator. And this person may be doing just that, like giving away her power, not taking responsibility for the life that she is actually creating through her decisions. It's just kind of like a reverse Jedi type lesson for women to learn, because you're socialized to believe you're less than and not powerful. Then you get to a point where you're supposed to learn that you are powerful, and then you have to go back to learning how to use that power. Mm-hmm. So it's kind of like a process of going back to remember, then going forward with what you now remember. But I would say that not based on the number of men, but based on the fact that there's no stability. whether it's relationship or physical stability of a home, there's something out of alignment. Now and that would be male or female if I heard those circumstances just that way.
I just feel like we need to get more women to accept that they're whores, and once they accept that they're a whore, they can feel better about themselves because they'll have identity then. Hey, I'm a whore, and they can do things to build their empire as a whore, because whores have a place in society. That's all I'm trying to say.
Whores have a place. So I guess I
don't
mean,
understand.
I get it.
We all deal with whores. I don't care. I'm talking about, like, I would say.
Yeah, what makes a woman define what makes a woman a whore? And in that definition, what I'm looking for is the difference between male and female whores.
Oh, that's me. I'm all over that.
I don't know what a male whore is, but I will say.
Are you saying there's no such thing as a male whore?
No, I'm not saying
It's
that.
redundant.
I'm interested.
Redundant.
It's
Is
redundant.
saying male and whore like saying the same word twice, like man.
Well, okay.
Man.
I would be interested to hear what a male whore is, but a female whore is a woman who basically uses her vagina to hustle with. But some girls, because of pride, guilt, and all them other feelings, they don't hustle correctly with their vagina. It's like they don't get a deposit before they give the product out. But if they listen to people like me, if you are determined to fuck men after men, I can help you earn income and become stable with your vagina that you pass out like flyers.
So
that's all I'm trying to say.
Thus, vaginal coaching.
Vaginal coaching. That's all they need.
Vaginal.
So your coaching is to help them become more effective at using the vagina, not to use the vagina in a healthier way for themselves, but in a way that can help them to be more effective at getting what they want.
Absolutely, and here's why, if I may. Here's why.
He's helping them to
because
start a business.
The health.
Yes.
No.
I love my sisters. I will help them get on their
He's helping them to improve their business.
To the business you're already in. You've already chosen to throw your shit out like Christmas cookies. I'm saying get something more for it, which is what he's saying. So
what's the difference?
I'm saying is
the girl who told me she was about to be homeless is attractive, and she just doesn't know what she's doing with her vagina, and she uses it for pleasure and hope that it gets her somebody that wants her. She needs to put all that aside and understand that there are men and women willing to pay to be up on and in her vagina.
And it's the same,
That's
dude.
all
It's
I'm
the
saying.
same. It's the same. If it's gonna be random, it's what he's saying.
Yeah.
If
If it's gonna be random.
If it's gonna be random, why are you fucking horrible dudes who you think may do this or that for you, so you can replace them?
Say this.
I think my
Let me
concern is
say
that that seems to me like a Band-Aid. I hear it, and I think it's a short-term intervention. Like, okay, if you're going to be doing this, then you could be doing this more effectively to get this to happen. But it didn't touch on what you said. It didn't touch at all what you said, which is what she really wants, which is someone to love her and to hold her. It does not touch that at all. So the strategy can help her temporarily to feel better, maybe to get physical home life, clothes, whatever, stability, but she will continue to degrade and to pass herself out until she finds the love that she did not get. That is just the bottom line.
I disagree, because as you are out there productively using your vagina, you may be able to find a trick or a lane or somebody who really cares about you and wants to share their life with you.
Happily ever after your ass. Yes.
This philosophy sounds like
Chicago?
No, it just sounds like Corinne Steffens. It sounds like this is her argument. Her argument is, I'm a hoe, I'm a trick, but at least I got paid for it.
Right.
At least I got something for it, and I'm out here trying to teach these women how to get something for it.
And the only problem I have with her is she got mad when people called her what she was. I'm like, what is your problem with being a whore? And you wrote a book on how you
on
whoredom paper being a whore.
Okay, this shit exists. This is again. It's maybe it's just the vapor in the room. Maybe I'm just hypersensitive to it.
This vapor.
This mindset exists, okay? There are women who are still looking for their daddy. That's the reason they did it. They've been molested. That's the reason they did it. Whatever your reason is, you have chosen this lane. All we are saying is go a little faster in it.
But I think all I'm saying is
you can't pull them out of that lane.
You can.
No, you can't.
100%. You can recreate, you can heal, you can realign, 100%. Now that's where I fundamentally disagree.
Yeah.
Now you may have chosen that lane, and that may be the lane you choose, but I will never agree to the fact that you cannot choose a different lane. The power of choice is always yours. The power of creation is always yours.
I agree with that.
So my thing is, if they're choosing that lane, okay, I'm not going to say a woman who's choosing that lane or a man who's choosing that lane is stuck in that lane for the rest of their life. That just defeats the purpose of being a creative being, being a human being. We can initiate, create, invent new ways. Now, if she chooses not to, that is a choice. But if she has the power to make that choice, she also has the same power to make a different choice.
No one argues.
Can I say one more thing?
I'm talking about the probability.
Whose water is that? Could you pass me that water? Can I see your water for a second? Now, see, if this was Brandy in the room, right now, Brandy would be like, well, if men would have did what they supposed to do, then women wouldn't be acting like that. That's what Brandy would be doing. Right?
Is that supposed to be her forehead?
Yeah.
I was wondering what Brandy does.
No, I'm saying like you got a sister in here who can
Brandy's
have a conversation.
Hell, come on now.
Brandy look good to the motherfucker.
Yeah.
Ain't nobody ever said
but
that.
She does have a little funhouse mirror thing going with her forehead. You know the funhouse mirror goes like that?
This is what we need to do. We have a line of callers. Let's get some callers in. We need to get some perspective in the room.
Can I throw?
Act like she's smart.
Can I throw a tip out? That
wait. After we get this caller, then the tip. Caller.
Go ahead.
You're on, caller. Where are you calling from? Tell us your name. Caller.
Not on.
Motherfucker cut off quick here, boy.
Caller. Do we have him or no?
They be on hold so long there.
If you're mute, it's not a good idea to call in.
Yeah, the whole lines are lit up though. Okay, we'll go to the doc's tip and then we'll come back to callers. Doc, go with your tip.
No, I think what you're saying, it's what you choose, but a lot of that stuff is all highfalutin. People need tactics that they can do. So here's a tactic: if you have a if you have a track record of no successes in relationships, you have what you should do is be very smiley and friendly after someone's talking, whatever, and you could say, let me ask you, I don't mean to offend you. Why should I believe one word of what you said? And the level to which they get defensive and their veins pop out means they're hiding something. Because real people, if they have nothing to hide, they have nothing to fear. And it's right. From their background, the reason they can't ask that is because they had an experience from their dad that lied to them. The dad said he loved them and he wasn't responsible. But you got to break that cycle.
Absolutely.
But you can just sort of say that. But you got to be kind of nice, a little bit coy, and say, why should I believe a word of what you just said? And watch their reaction.
Yeah, I had a friend who, she had issues from her past that were very difficult for her to express to men that she was interested in. So she would kind of hide this until the guy was more invested, which is beginning that relationship in a deceptive way. But her fear that they would reject her if they knew the truth was so strong. And so one of the things we worked on was, well, what's your spiel? Because she has like a spiel that she does, like to prepare, to tell. And so we kind of...
Her telemarketing script.
We kind of worked on how can you say this earlier so that the person that you're meeting, the person that they're meeting are accurate. They're not, this person, even if you think they're falling in love, they don't know everything. They don't have all the information to make a good decision on whether you are who they want to be with or your past is something they can deal with. But up front, one way or another, and say it, like you said, say it sweetly, say it nicely. This is what I've been through. This is what it is. And I'm still the same person. It made me who I am. I've accepted that about myself. I have no shame about it. But this is who I am. Well, and her results are different now because that fear, like you were talking about, is not there. You can't come into these situations with fear.
All lies are connected to fear. All of them. If you search a lie back far enough, you'll find fear.
Right, but fear is a human. Lying and fear, all of that shit is part of the human condition.
I think that a person is insane if you lie to somebody that you don't know.
Thank you. Yeah.
Say more about that.
I like that.
I'm just saying, if a dude meets you and he don't know you that good and he lie to you,
right.
you should not continue any conversation with him anymore. At all. The only woman you should lie to is the one that you love and live with. That is the only woman you should lie to.
Why?
All these other women are not worthy of your sin. They're not worthy of that sin. So if you lie to somebody, not only does it show fear, it show how weak you are. Because you have to lie to a motherfucker.
To someone you don't know.
That you're not even invested in.
Well, it shows how profoundly insecure you are. It shows that even before I meet you, I feel like you're going to judge me or have a negative impression of me. So I'm going to create this thing because that's how little faith I have in who I am.
At least create plausible deniability. Let's get back to what you said. Yes. Let's get back to what you said about hoes. I have a very simple definition. Hoe. Any female who has had sex with more men than her age in a particular given diameter of her house, more than two guys in one group, bowling team, job, on purpose. More than one dude in a family, on purpose. If you've done any of that, that's hoish. Now,
men and women.
I'm talking no, just women.
Just women is different. Okay.
What is a male? What is a male whore? Can we hear her tell that?
We're getting off track. I'll get there. Now, if you do not want to be seen as a whore, you must leave the scene of the crime. All I'm saying is if you've been doing this type of shit in L.A. and you get serious and you want a man to take you serious, a U-Haul truck is involved. Move to Atlanta.
But what is a male whore?
Plausible deniability.
That was my question for you all.
What is a male whore?
I don't know. I don't know what a male whore is.
It's interesting. We know what a woman whore is out in the relationship world.
Yeah.
Male whores aren't in relationships. They're in business. Most men in business are male whores.
I was going there. Business.
They really are. They will whore out. They don't care about the other person. They just care about getting their.
Sexually, you can't compare.
But I'm talking about a sexual in a sexual way. Can a man be a whore? I'm asking. I don't know. Tell me if they can, Bobby. I don't know.
I've been called one, so
me too.
And it hit me. It really made me stop and think. Wait a minute. Am I that loose? Lacking discipline and discretion? Will I literally just go with anybody? And I knew that I didn't meet that particular description, but I knew I had taken on some relationships that I shouldn't have never been involved in. So in that construct, men can be whorish in terms of just reckless.
Men are reckless.
Indiscriminate.
Reckless.
So I don't know if that's whorish, and then it becomes a question of semantics. Tomatoes, tomato, apples, and oranges, because we come from a worldview that's so different. Because there was a time when men spoke of whores, that's the girl that everybody could get. Okay, right. But you don't turn that around in the female community and say, "Oh, that's the guy. He's easy." We don't look at it like that.
That's why I was asking, what is a male whore? I don't get it.
I don't want to hurt anybody's feelings, but we do say like he's a hoe or he's a creeper or we have terms. We know when that thing has been.
Okay.
Multiple places, multiple friendships, and all that.
No, that's different though.
Here's the problem.
It's different though.
But I think.
No, you say he's a player. I mean, it's all these nice words.
Well, yeah, it's a different. Exactly, it's a different.
It's a totally different connotation.
He's a player. It's a totally different. It's praise.
Call him a wanton slut, if you will. I don't care what you call a man. Here is the difference.
A wanton slut.
Shout out to James Hanna. This is his words. Here's the difference between a male and a female. A woman on her wedding day, church full, 300 people, walking down the aisles, doves about to be released, can go stop the music. All you bitches fucked him, but I got him. He is a prize because he has set her aside from the rest of these bitches.
That's what I was just trying. That's my point.
Now, take it the other way. Find an alpha male that wants this to happen.
That's gonna be some gunplay.
300 people. Thank you. 300 people.
Exactly.
300 people in a church, walking down the aisle. Find an alpha male that will do this. I challenge you. Stop the music. All you niggas fucked her, but I got her. That's not going to happen.
That's not going to happen.
Not
So,
going to
okay,
happen.
I guess my question is then,
A male
are we saying
whore.
that is okay, or are we acknowledging that is a double standard?
No, I am saying, one, I'm acknowledging it's a double
It's a
standard.
double standard.
Two,
Is it?
I'm acknowledging the biology of it. You come here with your 400 or so eggs that you are supposed to guard unto your death. Between now and the end of this show, we will have made enough sperm to repopulate China.
But
Just us.
We do not, just us, just these dudes right here.
Just
I'm
this
not going to
crew.
count the sound man because now I got to go over into South America. We have China and South America. We can repopulate with just the sperm we have made right here, right now.
Let's call
We are
him
not-
a whore.
Yeah.
Let's call a man a whore.
Yeah.
But the truth is, he is a man who is in high demand by bitches. That is
Thank
the
you.
truth.
Thank you.
Well, so then we're talking about competition amongst women. And,
no,
and
it's
the-
not.
No.
It's not competition amongst women.
No, she has a good point.
No, it is, because if you saying that woman would stand up there and say, all y'all did what you did, but I got him, that's a competitive move. And you're saying that men don't think competitively about women. What they think is, well, we can both get her, so there's no competition.
Oh, we can all be friends.
Right,
certainly.
exactly.
It ain't no
Which I
fun
think
if
is-
the homies
now,
can't have
now,
it.
I think if we're going to, so it's, sometimes
but
I
he
try
won't
to-
walk
sometimes I
down
like
the
to
aisle with her.
establish that
Thank you.
No, but
Thank you.
if you-
That's the
if you
point.
say
He ain't said everybody's wife.
if you say to a woman, she'll screw anything, she's a whore. If you say that about a man, he'll screw anything, he's not a whore.
And that's why I don't. That's where I think
there's
we
a
have
double
to
standard.
acknowledge
He's not a whore, he's coveted.
Because the point of the matter is we're talking about indiscriminate sexual activity. I have a friend, a guy, and we were, they were rating girls, and I only deal with sevens. I only deal with. He was like, man, I can't even lie. I've taken a 4 or 5. And I think
I've
from
taken a 4 or 5 too.
a 4 or a 5. So I think that
his nickname, 4 or 5.
I think that men can be really indiscriminate. I think here's why I think this is important, and here's why I think it needs to be acknowledged, because you brought up the court system. And this is why this is important, because that same indiscriminate non-whoring, because we don't want to call it what it is, catches you a case in the court system fighting for your kid because you didn't want to call it what it is: indiscriminate, random sex with
And
somebody.
that's nothing to be proud of.
Hold on. To build on that point, sometimes it takes that court case for the man then to become a hemonist. Or now I'm gonna join this fucking men's rights movement.
When he actually fucked himself.
When he did it to himself.
What did he do to himself?
What did he do to himself?
Yeah.
This is
because she makes the point about
this
the indiscriminate behavior. There has to be some type of sexual discipline.
This is what I'm teaching my son.
For men.
This is what
because like you said, you can repopulate China.
Yes.
You'll be in court a long time.
My son.
No, but that's what I'm saying. Women run to this court system as their savior instead of doing right by themselves.
That's
the people who created these laws are above the law, so they still conduct themselves that way because they don't have to go to court.
No, you don't have to go to court either if you did not indiscriminately screw a woman who you got pregnant. So my point is, the court system is there, right? The court system is there.
There should not be a Bible talking about a God. It should be a Bible talking about a court.
You don't come into the court system unless you have a child who you are establishing paternity for.
That's not true. I've been to court just because I was walking down the street.
Male activity. We're talking about family court, like children custody court. My thing is, if the indiscriminate factor is important for men to acknowledge, not just women. I'm going to make sure women acknowledge it. If I talk to them, I'm going to be like, hey, handle yours. But I think it's important for men too, because I have male victims, friends who are victims of the same system, and I'm trying to help men understand.
They have found a way to hustle off whores.
Dude.
That's what the court system is about.
No.
Why do you act like this is the repercussions that come from sleeping with a woman?
My point is male and female whores because they made a baby, and so if that man wasn't being indiscriminate, just like that woman was being indiscriminate, there would be no baby.
She made a baby.
Okay,
I'm not going to get pregnant no matter how many whores I sleep with.
Okay,
but
wait.
They have taught you to believe that it's two people doing wrong.
Hold on. Okay.
There's 5 of us. So we got to calm down here against one. What we're all asking underneath
We're not
all this.
against.
No, what we're all asking, because you are very intelligent.
Yes.
So
That's why she's here.
So what we all are asking is, what the hell do women want, and why are they so angry at us all the time?
Well, I think women, not all women, but I think a lot of women aren't really angry with the men. I think that's projected onto the men. I think they're angry with themselves for the decisions that they make, because I think inherently they do know their power. When you do something outside of what you know you're capable of or better than, you're angry with yourself.
But why does that feel like anger at us?
Onto men. Now, I think it gets projected onto men.
How does that turn into setting my 67 Mustang fastback on fire?
I'm going to be angry at myself at you. That's
I'm agreeing with you. I'm agreeing with you. And here's why I'm agreeing with you, Jeff. Here's what I'm saying. I'm agreeing with you. And here's what I'm saying to you. I'm saying that is not right. It is not right that women wouldn't be less angry if she said, you know, I chose this relationship. I chose this man.
Well, now you're talking about accountability.
Right. Which I'm not saying, I think anybody you deal with in general like that is a person who lacks accountability. I think this conversation a little bit has been a little bit of a lack of accountability when we're talking about male paternity cases.
Okay.
So my thing is,
women are angry because they're lost. They're being led astray. They are made to believe that if I do this or if I do that, especially the courthouse, that should be who they go to church to praise, the courthouse. There shouldn't be, this Jesus ain't done shit for their ass. I'm talking about the courthouse is their savior. That's their Lord. They are mad because even though they take a guy to court and get him to cripple his income and make it unable for him to start a new family effectively, they still mad. And the reason they still mad because they lost. They have no vaginal coaching. That's
so
the
my
problem.
thing is, how did they get to court with this person if there was no child? If there was never
why they were allowed to have a court case?
If there was not, we've had the conversation about the cray cray. We've had that show.
Okay.
If there was not unprotected sex with a woman who you did not know well enough to know had these tendencies, would there be a child to even file child support on in court?
The only reason you have the right to file child support is because they know it will cripple the hood.
So it has nothing to do with the child existing.
The reason
that
you
the man
are
helped make.
no, but listen, you are allowed to have a child and go to court and hustle with that child because they know it destroys the community. There are countries where if you're a whore and you have a child, you basically are ass out. And those women make better decisions on who they lay down with. But
what
here,
do those men do? Because it's going to take all of us making better decisions.
Wait.
No, my question is, it's going to take all of us making better decisions. So even in that scenario,
you're right.
I hear what you're saying. The women do better, but I'm still not hearing what because biologically, no matter how many people talk on this show, it will never change that it takes a man and a woman, sperm and an egg.
But the only bargaining chips you have is the courthouse. Remember that.
So
that's
Jeff
the only
Brown,
bargaining chips
Jeff
you got.
Brown, and then we go into break.
Okay.
Shit.
My son will be 7 years old tomorrow. Mm-hmm. When he is 12, I'm going to start teaching him this. Dudes who say to you when you ask them what you finna do, if he say, I'm finna go get some pussy, you need to stay away from that dude because he is disillusioned.
Right.
You are not, as my son, getting pussy. You're giving out dick, okay? There are just sisters outnumber us 8-1. Recognize horribles while you young, okay? If women want monogamy, if you purely want monogamy, if there are 8 sisters in a room that want monogamy, 7 of you are ass out. Figure out what you're going to do. If you really want a dude to stay with you for the rest of your life, that means you other 7 heifers is on an island because we outnumber you. You outnumber us 8-1. What I'm telling my son is this. Figure out who them 7 horrible bitches are before you unzip your pants. Because they exist.
It's 8 in the room.
Which now see 7 of them. So that,
let me say this.
But I think that's great. I think what he's saying is, I'm going to teach my son not to throw dick all willy-nilly.
Right.
Yes.
So isn't that what we're saying? That's why I don't understand. I feel like maybe they have 2 different points then because we agree.
No, I also agree with that point.
You're saying that you're going to raise your son not to be indiscriminate
and I'm
with
saying
sexual activity
that the 2 can exist.
Okay, this is what we need to do. Because we all can't talk at the same time. I'm going to...
I thought we were doing pretty good.
No, we're not. We're not doing really good. But it's good information. It's good exchanges. Let me just say this.
I thought it was okay.
Courthouse is my God. That's the book we need to write.
The courthouse is my God. Let me say this.
Praise Judge.
It is a very intelligent... Praise Judge is hilarious.
That's what it is.
It is a very...
The court go get you.
But it is a very intelligent system, the government, to create laws that criminalize behavior or tendencies. That's just fucking smart. And overnight, they said, you know what? Cigarettes are illegal. And then they said, no, they're legal. And then prohibition. You remember niggas was making stills off in the woods somewhere, and that was illegal. But overnight, with the scribble of a pen, a whole faction of the community, of the country, can be illegalized. Now, all of a sudden, if you're doing this, you're a criminal. You can criminalize a whole faction. So the point that's being made is very solid points. I just think we're not really listening to each other to see the similarity in the point. Corey is saying women use the system to take advantage of men. There are women out there. There are women out there that do it, have mastered it.
Would you say it's most women?
I would say
in this country?
I would say when I look at all the women in the world, I would say most of them are fucked up. Because I believe great quality motherfuckers are rare. And that applies to men too. I would say the majority of men are fucked up.
We're straight, so you're
right. But the great ones are in a rare group. It's just not, if there was everybody was great, then it would be different. Then we could say, okay, these are isolated incidences. No, most motherfuckers are dumb. They're dumb, and when I say dumb, I don't mean book smart. I mean internally have no idea about themselves, their weaknesses. They have no self-discipline. They don't understand who they are as a being. They might be identified by their job. I'm Bob the doctor. No, you're Bob who practices medicine. Who is Bob outside of being a doctor? Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yes.
So I think there is the weakness. And at the end of the day, you're saying things that are very valid, and men have to say, well, you know what,
like
that
what?
Makes sense. When she says men are responsible and have to take some level of, hey, you know what, I'm a little reckless and indiscriminate about how I put this dick out there, right?
So do you feel like a man should be taking care of somebody other than his wife?
No. What I'm saying is a man should be responsible for whatever painting or tapestry his dick wand created.
Really?
And so
absolutely.
Absolutely. My point is, I never disagreed with the fact that women abuse the system. In fact, if you heard me, said I'm saying this on behalf of male friends who are being, as we speak, victimized by that same system. Being solution-oriented, though, which is what Zoe's goal was, then I have to say, okay, how can I help men stay out of that system?
Put your
and part
dick
of that
away.
is you would not be in that system if there was no child there to argue about or go to court about. And that child wouldn't be there if you're going to be indiscriminate, put something on it, or make sure with somebody you were in a relationship with that you wanted to parent.
Here's a question.
With.
You own a home.
Court is God.
Here's a question. You own a home.
I don't think we're dealing with logic anymore.
You own a home, Thea. Okay. Which do you think is more effective for the homeowner? To tell the robbers to stop robbing, or tell the homeowners to buy better locks?
If the robbers don't want to end up in court, the robbers, I would tell them to stop robbing.
Okay, so you...
It's not going to be... Because, wait, we can't make it... No, he used the example... Corey's like, court. He used the example of court. Because the homeowners are not responsible... Wait, listen. No, you used an example. You used an example, Geoff, so calm it down. Use the example of if robbers rob a home, is it better to teach the homeowner to keep the home safe or the robbers to stop robbing? My point is that if the robbers are saying, I don't want to go to court, then the robbers should not rob the home. If the homeowners are saying, I don't want to be robbed, then they need to secure their home. They both have something they can do to prevent the end outcome.
That's fantastic.
Is that okay? You hear what I'm saying, Zach?
Bobby Clanton,
that has nothing to do with that is very fantastic. It is very profound, but it didn't answer my question.
Well, I think because you only want your question answered on behalf of the robbers.
No, I don't.
And I answer both sides.
Okay,
I'm going to keep doing that.
No, court is the answer. Go ahead, Bobby.
Let Bobby do it.
It's court. Go to court.
Well, what are we talking about, Bobby? Go ahead.
Bobby knows what we talking about. Shit.
Yeah, I'm real clear on that.
Yeah,
Murfreesboro.
My former patriot Fairgrounds would probably solve this with a knife, but
Fairgrounds.
The key thing as we try to stay in the solutions lane is take it back to first person. What can I do, and what is real about that? Because there was a time when I looked at women more as objects than I do now. And I have to admit, there's a consequence that I paid for that. I became defined as that. And then when I got in that lane, I realized, wow, man, this is not working out for me. Because it was too confusing, it was too contradictory, and I was losing a point Geoff made earlier about time on your life. And I'm going to go back to the decision-making process. What is most important to me as I go forward? Because what I've done is done.
Right.
And as I go forward, I don't want all that mess in my life. So if it's just a female acquaintance, then I want to work that out right away. This ain't going nowhere beyond tonight, whatever. Let's be clear about that. If you ain't with that, we're going to just go our separate ways. If I'm trying to build something, then I'm taking into account that there might be a child involved. Do I want another kid? I have to make that decision. Right. And I think as we look at solutions, we really have to go back to that personal checklist and decide, where am I in my life and what can I put up with?
Maybe I want to just one thing. I want to build on what Corey was saying and what Bobby just said. Maybe there's a thing that men and women have in common. Maybe the one thing we have in common. How much of anger, when people are angry, do you think is having to face and pay the consequences of stupid, hasty, foolish decisions? Indiscriminate, and you have to live with it. And then you have to say, well, why can't people resist making those hasty decisions? And part of it is a lot of people, it's kind of like what we're talking about. Why, if we men don't have a place to vent verbally, we're going to blow a gasket in our head or we're going to turn to violence. So I think people do all this hasty stuff because they don't have a way to do something with it. Then you make a hasty decision, you get a terrible consequence, and you got to live with it, and you don't want to live with it. And so how much of anger do you think is based on that you have to face something that you set up and you're indiscriminate and you're saying you're not accountable?
I think for me, everything comes down to accountability. And so whether I'm talking to men or women, nothing changes without it unless you can own it. So as long as we're saying, men are the reason I'm angry, and if he hadn't done this, I wouldn't have done this, or we're saying women drag us to court, and as long as that finger is pointing that way, we're doing the opposite of being accountable. And so the anger is going to remain because, like I said in the beginning, the anger is with yourself for making those decisions.
I think every black woman who was mad about that Trayvon Martin verdict that has a child support case is a hypocrite. You deal with the court, you use it to work for you, but you see how evil this system is, and you'll talk crazy about it then. I don't deal with court. I don't go to court. Nothing in court is there for me. I will not get justice in any courtroom. The reason you are allowed to go in a courtroom and put a case on somebody you bust your asshole open to, ladies, is because they can capitalize off your whorish behavior. That's all I'm trying to say. There's nothing in court, especially for African-American people in this country.
African-American men in particular.
Yeah.
If you go to court, how you mad at the people?
I hear you. I just know differently.
Of course you do.
I know differently personally.
You believe the court system works for
I've seen two black men handle same situation two different ways, and the one who handled it, the one who handled it without anger, the one who handled it focused on his child, and who sought, resources, actually ended up with complete full custody of his daughter. He's not paying a dime as child support. The child is doing extremely well. And I think that was how they handled it. I worked also in the foster care system for a while. I worked for the attorneys that were advocating for kids. I used to go to the parents and I would sit with the parents. I would sit with the parents and I would tell the parents, I would say,
seem like the system is fair.
I would sit with the parents and I would say to the parents, I understand that this is not where you want to be. I understand that this is not fair. I know I've worked in the system. I know what the judges look like. I know what the attorneys look like. I know they don't represent our people, but I also know that this is where we are, and that if I can help my people to figure out, how dealing with yourself and how to navigate it, because I think a lot of it is the anger comes across. And so they're judged by the anger when they first come in there, which is not fair.
They act like you're an angry man.
Am I going to get there? How much time? I'm going to get
I'm going to get
that much time. All right.
I'm just going to be clear. I don't know that. I think, to be honest, that
you're an angry nigger.
I feel like some of you can hear what I'm saying, but I think because you really have this. Even if I don't say court, you say court. So maybe that's your personal experience.
That's your
I don't
God.
know.
That's
but
what
it's
you need
not,
to understand.
That is not nearly my God.
Okay, so let me say this.
That's where you get
I've
your power.
actually never been.
Thea, let me say this. I have a friend. She's a sister. She went to Loyola for law, and then I'm gonna give it to Geoff. I have one thing to say. She said, court should not be the person or the entity that creates peace in a family.
It shouldn't.
She said, what it is that entity that will step in and decide for you if
when
you're
you don't.
incapable.
Right.
She says, we really don't want to get involved.
Right.
But if we get involved, because we're lawyers, we're trained win or lose.
Right.
So somebody in that family gotta be a fucking loser.
So the
because
key
that's
is
how
not,
we're trained.
The key is not, and this is what I go back to say. The key is not to end up in it.
But see, I don't know if that's
where you
I see what you're saying, but that's not. If black men, there's a rap group, Public Enemy. Public Enemy #1 is the black man. So to say don't end up there is also to say,
and sometimes you can, right? Sometimes
it's unavoidable.
I knew parents who were great parents who got a bad deal. You know, I would again educate them on, okay, this is how, because the law is a very tricky, scary thing. But there are times when it is avoidable. So we're talking about the situations where it is avoidable, not when it's not avoidable. It is avoidable if you do not have random children with random women. Wow. That is a way to avoid
Geoff, tell her your story and how you got your kids.
No. And I'm going to tell you why not.
Why?
Because you're not going to give me 2.5 minutes.
Yeah, go ahead.
I have 2.5 minutes.
Geoff, just say your goddamn story, Scottie Pippen.
Okay.
Now, if I tell you to get in the game, get in the goddamn game.
Well, don't tell me to get in the game and take off one of my fucking shoes.
You got 2 minutes.
I got 2 shoes.
To say what you got
2 minutes with the ball. Great.
Scottie Pippen had his shoes.
Here's the issue. Here's my only issue with you. When you say that you help your friends navigate, the energy.
Not my friends.
Okay, when you say you told your blank how to navigate, it's like saying I'm going to show you how to navigate this evil alligator-infested swamp. The alligators like black meat. And then you say now, basically there's no swamp. Is what it feels like. I can't tell you what
because you know how to navigate.
Oh my God. Right? I can't tell you what it is. I'm going to tell you what it looked like. Okay? And that's what it looks like to me. The reason I'm so passionate about this is because I have been horribly railroaded by the court system. And I fought back, and now I have 50% custody over a lie. It was lied to the judge. Inferred that I abused my son, and the judge put me through hell. I went through it, and now I have 50% custody of my children. My child support payments are now $16 a month. 16, meaning if I give that bitch a 20, somebody owe me $4. $16 a month. I did not get there because the court system went, here, you do this, ma'am, you do this, sir, it's the same thing. That's not what happened. They went, here, ma'am, you solve this 50-piece jigsaw puzzle. They went, here, sir, you are going to have to fly the space shuttle. Take it off, fly it, and land it. And it takes off, and you have to be at Cape Canaveral in 20 minutes.
There needs to be classes in college that let you know that when you take on a woman, in any way, you're taking on her and her court system.
Yes.
If children are taught that when they're young, like if you're like in high school, they need to have courses to let you know any contact you have with that female, you can wind up in court, whether it's your child, because they say it's her child, whether it's your child, whether it's her saying you did something, you are the defendant in the beginning.
Yes. I had to pay child support for children who were grown. That were not mine.
And it's a shame.
That is in the paperwork that these biologically did not come from you, but I was still paying for them. So yes, I am saying men should be more responsible with who they lay down with, but I am also saying it cannot be ignored. It cannot be brushed over. It cannot be pushed aside that the American judicial court system is not set up to at all be fair to men of color. I'm almost done.
To build no family.
I'm almost done. Not only that, this court system was set up under We the People. When We the People was written, we weren't even considered people. We were owned. You cannot ever, if you're going to use a court...
Time!
Let me tell you where I'm gonna tell you what I'm reading. Let me tell you what I'm reading. One.
Tell me what it looks like.
And Zoe, let me have my space.
Let me have my space, Zoe.
When I met these people that I was helping, they were in the swamp with the alligators who like black meat. So my job was to help them get...
How were they in the swamp?
Let her get it out. That's me.
And then I'm coming back.
I told you, Corey, I don't think you listen well. I said I worked with families that were already in the system. So when I met these people, they were in the swamp with the alligators that liked the black meat. So the point of navigating them was to get them out the swamp as quickly and safely as possible. That's what I'm saying. I never said I could help them stop jumping in the swamp. The families I'm talking about were people who were already in the system when I met them. So what do you do when you meet somebody who's already in that situation? You help them get out of it as quickly and safely as possible with the least amount of resistance. With the least amount of resistance.
Yes.
So let me go back to what you were saying. I think what happened is something got touched on a nerve because there's personal experiences with court, because I never advocated court. I said
court. Nobody brought up court till you said
she brought it up, but she's saying she didn't advocate.
I didn't advocate. What I mentioned it as what he said, a consequence of indiscriminate actions or poor decision making. I never said it was fair to men, not even men of color, but to men in general, and then men of color.
Yeah, it is fair to men who are not.
I never said those things. But because whatever sore spot is within got struck, that's what it was taken as. All I mentioned it as was a potential consequence. It was a potential consequence of we were talking about indiscriminate sex. Mm-hmm. A consequence of indiscriminate sex is unplanned babies. Unplanned babies give that woman a weapon to use against you. Who gave her that weapon? You provided the sperm that provided the weapon. That's what I'm saying.
She's got the gun, we loaded it with bullets.
Why are you even listening to that? Caucasian people give you a weapon to run and hustle your pussy with. Because if you didn't have a court system as a repercussion for a man and a woman having sex, you would make smarter decisions. You would have to work through your problems. You would be like, listen, we got a child. Let's work through it. Or women wouldn't deal with men that they felt like you couldn't work through things with. Because they have a court system, they can deal with a man that ain't about shit and send him through a swamp that she is saying, he was already here. He was put there.
Who ain't about shit. If he ain't about shit,
you shouldn't be sleeping with him.
What are the other ways?
Don't sleep with men who ain't shit.
Well, don't sleep with women who ain't shit.
All women ain't shit.
That's it.
All women ain't shit.
Well, there we go. Corey does not sleep with women apparently.
If they're in the court system, they not about shit.
Well, you should have told us that up front. If you should have told us up front, if you don't deal with women who ain't shit, if all women ain't shit, you don't deal with women. This is a mute discussion.
Okay. Well, let me say something. It ain't that all women ain't shit, but if they're in the court system,
really careful.
If they're in the court system,
you're making everything.
That's because they ain't shit.
Wait. Are you saying if their preferred means of dealing with any aspect of shit in their lives is the court system?
Well, that I agree with.
Yeah.
My boy worked down there child support.
I know motherfuckers.
I agree with that. I agree with that, and I don't think anybody should use it that way.
Who the family got into a fight, and the aunt took the cousin to court. 2 women.
I agree with that. And I also agree
they answer everything with court.
I agree with that. I think that is systemic. I think that when people have
Is that what you're saying?
I'm just saying, if you live in America,
then they do that.
If you live in
agree.
America and you approach any woman, you have to have your game plan together because her power source is the courthouse. And she doesn't even realize you're giving that power source so we can put cases on these niggas. That's why most of the hood got a case one way or another, and you got motherfucker got cases because they had a baby, because they had sex. That don't make no motherfucking sense.
So just help me understand. What I'm understanding is there's nothing these men could do differently in this situation.
Absolutely.
No.
We already covered that.
Yeah, we covered.
I just want to be clear. I want to hear. I want to hear it from Corey because Corey's the one who's also.
we already co-signed that.
This part I can kind of.
I can answer that.
What I'm struggling here is Corey had trouble with. There's certain things you seem to have trouble with, like male whore. What does that mean? That doesn't exist.
I'm asking.
I don't believe that exists.
Men could just have indiscriminate sex and there's no consequences. So
what is the consequence? To go deal with the enemy, the person who brought you here as a slave. You use him as a way to get back at the man that didn't want you.
But you just said that kids should be raised to know that this could happen. So you're aware that it's a potential consequence, or else you wouldn't raise a kid to know that could potentially happen. So if you know there's a potential consequence to an action, that makes you accountable for the potential consequence.
But that's all hypothetical. What's she saying?
Wait. Okay, hold on. Dr. Goulston, what is the average when you're having unprotected sex? What is it? 85% chance that you can get pregnant, or a woman?
Depends on the woman's age.
Can get pregnant.
And it all depends on that. But you raised something. I'm the only white guy here. I'm going to send.
It depends on the woman's age. I just needed the answer first.
No, it does. It does.
Okay, but I saw a number that said 85% chance.
No, but there's a real. I'd like you guys to weigh. I'd like everyone to weigh in because I'm the white guy here. I think the court system favors white men and black women.
Woo!
Here we go.
There we go.
Now
domestic disputes.
Is it true now?
Oh, I'm not sure.
I'm wondering. I know because
is it true now?
Why do you think they give black women power in court?
No. He's
no, let him finish because he's there. He's there.
I don't know if it was Corey, but there was on some show where we said, well, a lot of white men are intimidated by black men. There's a primal, the sexual kind of thing. And I think there's some truth to that, or they don't relate to them or something. And and the court system is largely white, and there's probably a thought that they can reason, or the women play themselves as wanting, I'll reason with you, whereas this no good man of mine won't do anything, and it's weird because I think the court system seems to favor the white male, like, well, you're like us, and I mean, it's I'd be curious to know out in the world,
Well,
how they perceive it.
I think based on that premise, and I don't know that off the top of my head, but I don't know about the black women, but I will say that would make sense historically because that's similarly to how welfare was
So
used.
how do you not know?
So I'm not.
That's what I'm saying. She don't know this though.
So are you saying the court system?
If it
Let me
makes sense
ask this,
historically,
guys.
how do you not know?
Let me ask this, guys.
Can you answer that?
Is the court system?
No? All right.
No, I hear that, Geoff, and it's a great point. But I'm following you up on that.
Go right in.
I think at the end of the day, we all know that the court system has it out for the black man, right? But does the court system kind of make the black man into like a woman, into like this perpetual victim? Has the court system turned the black man into the damsel in distress?
Yeah.
And I think that's something we need to deal with. Bobby?
Had to breathe on that one because I've been to court enough times to tell you it didn't break me. It bent me up pretty bad, but it didn't break me. And when we talk about solutions, the first thing we have to do. No, we still are. We still are talking about.
Well, we know your solution, the courthouse.
You don't know shit. How about that?
Brought her out the bag. I'm brilliant. You'll never give me credit for who I am. Nobody will ever say Corey is brilliant, but all these motherfuckers who you say is, they intelligent and all that shit, that's who they are.
But I don't.
That's who they are when you argue with them. They'll start the profanity.
Let Bobby talk.
Let Bobby do this.
Can I at least get a minute?
Let Bobby get his.
Give me my props.
You was working on that, huh? Is that what you was doing?
What I wanted to say was this, and I'm going to say it still. I done been to court, I've been to jail, I've been to hell, they all the same. And the outcome is this. I refuse to give up my right to be better, to do better, and to be as honest with myself as I can. One of the things I noticed about Corey Holcomb as a human being and as a man, he found a way to deal successfully with the court system and to a degree have a relationship with his children. All right? Not through just paying out money, but he had to be very clever and brilliant to have a relationship with a daughter who's in college. And he's got other children that he has a relationship with that he's serious about. He don't talk about it a lot, and I'm not going to put that any further out there than to know that you come up with solutions for your own particular situation.
You learn to navigate.
And that will apply to everybody at this table. We have to personalize these battles and not get caught up in whether it's the court necessarily, because the court is the court. Doc is right. I done been to court, and it's different for me than it is when you go in there. It's how you come out of that situation. And right now, as men, we have to make personal decisions to say, look, I have arrived at this particular conclusion. I'm not going to allow the courts or anybody else to dictate the rest of my life.
Well, so is one of the answers self-governance?
Yes, let me tell you this. The black men that I mentioned earlier.
I want to address the self-governance part of it. It's always been about self.
Yeah.
It will always be.
Has never not been.
Self.
From the individual to the relationship to the family and the community.
We're common in the sense that we made the same way. Men are men.
Yeah.
And we can identify on a certain level. But then when it comes to that other side of the equation, we foreign to the female experience. And we can't act like we understand that any more than we really do.
Or tell us who we are.
And then we have to, I'm not going to always agree with Corey or anybody. It'll look like we all are in accord. But
we have
only because we have some common experiences, some common frustration. But to get to that next level that we started this whole dialogue about, it comes back to self. And then what are we really here for? Are we here to just have children that we can't raise? Because I've been through that. I know how it feels to not be able to put into a child's life more than money, because it's the instruction that's important, and that's absent in that court situation. So I'm not going to the court to get the instruction to say this to my son, because the judge ain't going to give me that permission.
Because that's like going to the devil and asking him for advice on God.
I'm going through that right now. I got to get around the court.
I just want to be clear. I want to be clear.
Then
when Zoe texts me about the show being about intimacy and about relationships and about, that is where I am. I focus on healing. And I don't focus on necessarily whether it's a woman or a man. That whoever needs the healing is whoever we're going to talk to. So for me, if I can prevent a man from being in a situation like that, I'm always going to reach out for that. I'm always going to support that, because it's hell. And it's terrible. And I know it's unhealthy for a child to be with a vindictive mother who puts her will over the well-being of a child. And there's a father here with the heart to take care of this child and try to make up for what this mother won't provide. I've seen it. And I've supported those men when they go in to do that. So what I try to tell my male friends, because I love them, and because I know we need them, and because I know how important fathers are, is that just like what Geoff says, I don't say it the way Geoff says it, but you have value too, and you can't just put yourself out there indiscriminately, because you are also devaluing yourself. This is my point. When we give it a word for women, we are teaching them that this is devaluing themselves. So they are somewhere getting that lesson somewhere, right? But if we don't tell men that that's happening to them too, then they won't realize the situations they're putting themselves into, and they will also be hurt. And the point is that a healed man, a whole man, and a whole woman can create a whole family. Like you said, it hurts every time a family hits that system. It hurts every time a court has to intervene, because there should be enough love there between those two people, for at least for that child, to say he deserves to see his dad, he deserves to have a relationship with his mom. But their own anger and their own needs have gotten so far in the way sometimes, or one person's, sometimes it's not both people, one person's needs may have blinded them to what that child needs, in which case they need to be with that other person until that person can get it together. This show was not about court systems. This show was about intimacy and accomplishing that in healing relationships. And it was focused on men doing that and learning to emote and having a place to vent. Because I think the problem is, if you do have all men, you have the same conversation and end up validating each other's frustrations. Same thing that happens. I don't go to women's circles much anymore. Like I have certain groups that I do, but they are all action oriented. They all have like assignments and things they got to do, because we are not about to sit around here and talk about the same stuff all over again. So I just wanted to be clear about that, and I do feel like, you know, Bobby really understood that.
Now, Geoff, you had a question, and then I'm gonna tie it all together.
Okay. Understandably, the show was not about the court system, but by default, when you ask black males with mustaches, I just cut mine off for this thing I'm doing, but if you ask a black male with a mustache what he's frustrated about, if you give it 10 minutes, it'll get back to court. With that, my question still stands. You are a smart lady. You said, I realize it in history, but I don't understand it. I would like to see, with an intelligent mind, how that could possibly
That's not what I said. What I said is, and I don't speak to things like, he asked a specific thing. He said, you know, the white male, I understood. I said, I don't know the numbers on black women in court. So that's why I don't speak when I don't have the factual stuff. Exactly. I'll just say I don't have those facts. But what I will say is, what I was continuing to say before you were a little dismissive, was I said that I could see how that could happen and why that would be effective at tearing down the black community, because that's similar to what was done with welfare, where they put this power into black women's hands, and then they had to make the decision on whether or not they were going to allow these men to stay in the home or be with their children. So that would make sense to me that if that's an accurate number, if that's an accurate fact, that would be a systemic thing. And this is the thing. Whether it's educational, whether it's foster or prison, I recognize that people of color and men I'm not delusional. Men of color are definitely affected far and beyond differently.
You got to talk to me like I'm 5, because it sounds almost like you just said 3 + 2. I see where it could possibly equal 5, but
I point out
words.
Because when I don't have factual information, I've already said that.
You don't speak on it, right?
Right. I don't say things for certainties. I don't speak in generalizations.
Oh my God.
But I will say, like, that makes sense according to what I understand.
I'm too simple. Yeah, I'm glad this is recorded.
This is recorded.
All right.
Okay, listen, we're gonna have to wrap the show in a second. So everybody, no more filibusters.
I'm done.
Say what you need to say, and then we're gonna wrap it. Go ahead, Bob.
I just want to say this: when people are upset, that's a great time to evaluate who they are, because most people step to you composed, but when they don't get their way, they always come out the bag, and you see who that person is. I want everybody to remember that, because if I'm upset, I want to show you who I am. And that goes for everybody. That's a good time to evaluate that person when they upset.
That's a good point. I'm going to say this, and then we're going to wrap it in a second. The doc said something that was interesting about anger, the question about anger, right? And we all talked about fear earlier. I think all of these things we talked about, you know, the court system and the way we, gender roles and the way men have, double standards. I think we outlined a lot of the problems with our community. What would our relationships look like if men and women, African American men and women, had equal gender role rights? You're a woman, you want to go to war, you get to go to war. Right? It's equal. What would the relationships look like then? What would the relationships look like if there was no black and white thinking in terms of you're wrong, we're right? Just follow our role, what we say. If we can imagine what that would look like, I think we could begin the healing process. The problem is, it's too much blaming, it's too much condescending, it's too much disrespect. We showed it here today, right? So again, the purpose of the conversations is to create this type of dialogue so we can start to unravel the shit that we don't want to deal with on a day-to-day basis. Most women look for a man to take them away from their relationship hurts. Men do it too, and that's the wrong direction. Relationship is just going to fucking expose those nerves anyway, right? That's the purpose of relationship, is to expose the shit you're trying to hide from. Black people need to stop going to a government intermediary thinking that that government intermediary has our best interest. It does not. Never has. Okay? We got to stop saying the educational institution is what makes us great people. It's not.
Never have.
The knowledge of who the fuck you are, which we don't know, is the reason why we rip each other to shreds. If we knew who we were, we would value each other differently. Respect relationally is not our religion. And that's why we're at each other. That's why it's men on women, women on men. Men ain't shit, women ain't shit. Bitches is hoes, niggas ain't shit. That's why we're here. So the purpose of the conversation is not to browbeat each other to death. It's to really expose these fucking nerves. And say, hey, if we listen, we picked up on some points that we can actually use. In my opinion. We picked up on some shit that we can say, if we stop doing that, if we stop doing this, I think women are exceedingly valuable to our happiness as men. I think sisters are the greatest woman on planet Earth, in my opinion.
Me too.
I believe... This nigga.
I need some nourishment now.
You're right. Okay, great.
They wouldn't go to
That girl
court if
want
it
me
didn't
out.
obey their
So
will.
listen, this is what I'm going to do. Everybody, starting with Thea, where can they find you? They got to get your book, which is an incredible work. Where can they find you? Twitter, Instagram, all of that.
All of that under Thea Monier. And then I'm actually doing a play called The Missus and the Mistress about sexual competition amongst women and how that affects their decisions in relationships. So you can find that. Missus and Mistress is on Facebook, Twitter. It's coming up December 20th and 21st. The book is Murmurs of a Mad Woman. Thea Monier is the Facebook. And I just say that if we are going to approach healing, then we can't do it with the intention of provoking. I think it has to be done with the intention of healing.
Indeed, indeed, indeed. Bobby?
You can reach me at Bobby at Real Men Don't Play. That's my email address. I've got a book that has some very important models of possibility. It's entitled Real Men Don't Play. You can reach me at Glanton Smith on Twitter.
Got it. Doc?
Yeah, you can reach me at Mark Goulston on Twitter or markgoulston.com, markgoulston.com, and you can check out my, I have 6 books up at Amazon.
Excellent. Jeff?
At GB Funny Style is my Twitter. Jeff Brown.
3rd Street Promenade.
Hashtag. Jeff Brown on Facebook.
Jeff Brown on Facebook.
Yeah.
There he is.
Yeah.
Quickly, I will be at Central Michigan University this week talking to the young sisters and the young brothers, letting them know that no matter what kind of education you get at this school, if your mama wasn't shit, you got a long way to go.
Oh, God. This is the legendary So What Morning Show, man. This is what we do. I want you to go to IamZoeWilliams.com.
It's the truth,
Please purchase a copy of my book. You can get shirts, books, all kind of stuff. We have to keep recycling black dollars. That's one of the key components of our fucking downfall as a community. We don't support each other.
Can I say Twitter?
Yeah, tell us your Twitter.
The Corey Holcomb if you want to learn more.
The Corey Holcomb.
The THE.
THE, The Corey Holcomb. Again, please go to IamZoeWilliams.com, Instagram, Zoser Williams, Facebook. Follow us. We're going to keep it going. We're going to keep the dialogue happening. We appreciate everybody for their contributions.
See you in court, bitch.
And we'll see you next week. Deuces.